at the camp. Underground, you emerge through a trapdoor into the light and into the noise. The famous old stadium. The home of the Dutch Cup final as well as the home of finals. And quite often, when the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam is unavailable, the home of the Dutch national side, who look to bid farewell and do so with victory. A big night for Crescencio Somerville, who makes his debut right from the start. One of the surprise names in Ronald Koeman's final World Cup squad. Vladimir Petkovic, hugely experienced on the international stage as the coach of Switzerland, now guides Algeria to a major tournament. He said this will test the limits of their capabilities. Much to compare Netherlands and Argentina, hence why they wanted this game. First of all, the national anthems, of course, of the two nations, beginning with Algeria.
Het volkslied van Nederland wordt vanavond gezongen door Sera.
A pretty unique send-off. The Dutch national anthem echoing around this famous old ground. And we are moments away from kick-off between Netherlands and Algeria. Rather than protect his players, as Jurrien Timber's not joining up till tomorrow. Looks like we'll see Donjan Malen up top rather than on the right. Having said, he doesn't see him fitting into that system as a striker. That's where he is. Jakob Zemmler of Austria leads the team of officials tonight. We do have video assistant referee, in the shape of Alan Kies. Virgil van Dijk is ready. With the pennant. Here's Riyad Mahrez. The two have come up against each other many times in the Premier League. Vladimir Petkovic has also gone with a strong 11, given the wealth of talent he has, particularly in midfield and up top. There are areas where Algeria can hurt the Dutch. Mahrez, Guiri and Amoura have almost 180 caps between them, as well as 65 goals. Aissa Mandi anchors the defence, the experienced Lille defender. Luka Zidane, son of Zinedine, plays in a protective mask after missing the final 5 games of the season for his club Granada with a broken jaw. Rami Saruki is a former Feyenoord player, a current Feyenoord player, but he was on loan this season at FC Twente. The Dutch in their usual pre-match huddle. Algeria yet to break from theirs. Huge amount of ability. Mohamed Amoura was the top scorer in African qualifying with 10 goals, one more than Mohamed Salah of Egypt. Ronald Koeman also has plenty of players to choose from on the bench with real talent. Somerville will be looking to make an impression. Donyell Malen, who did play up top for PSV and has done brilliantly well playing up top for Roma, where he's on loan for Aston Villa. 14 goals in 18 league games. No wonder it is worth trying him. Off we go then. Back goes the ball. The Dutch get us underway. And the final game on Dutch soil before they fly to the World Cup is up and running. That ball just drifted out of play. And Algeria, well, it'll be interesting to see how they do combat this Netherlands side, which will be intense and look to press as early as they can. They are a side among the favourites for the tournament itself. Certainly the Algerian media have been building this one up, the prestige and the challenge of facing them, tipping them for a tilt at the World Cup, and suggesting that if Algeria can impress here, then maybe they can impress against Argentina in their opening game. Van Dijk and Van Hecke could well be the opening central defensive partnership. Bart Verbruggen confirmed already as the #1 for the tournament. Van Hecke goes long. Down goes Ryan Aït-Nouri, the Manchester City defender, who has come up against Somerville in the Premier League. Somerville doesn't get anywhere near the ball. First free kick conceded by the debutant, the West Ham winger, who would have been in the squad and probably made a debut in March had he not been suffering from a calf injury. Now he's put his side under a little bit of pressure. One long line of 7 defenders. Now it's played a little shorter to Nabil Bentaleb, the defensive midfielder, recalled having not been part of the squad for Algeria at the African Cup of Nations, but now part of the World Cup squad. That one's just over the head of Donyell Malen. Back goes Amoura to Belaid. The Algerian fans have been in here a while. They are vocal. Aissa Mandi, winning cap number 117 today. He and Mahrez, survivors from the last World Cup in 2014. Mahrez debuting just before that tournament, forcing his way into the reckoning for it. Gravenberch doubling up along with Wifa. Saruki, the Feyenoord man, scooped over to Mahrez, and they've left a lot of space here for Riyad Mahrez. Now Van de Ven comes back, but giving Riyad Mahrez that kind of space is dangerous. He's clipped that one into Van de Ven. It's Van Hecke's header. They've got it back. Amoura works it back. Chipped in by Bentaleb and then flicked away. And it's promising from Algeria. And we're looking to fight fire with fire. And if you give Riyad Mahrez that kind of space, then it won't impress Ronald Koeman. I'm pretty sure about that. And he said he's more confident going into this tournament than he was 2 years ago when they reached the last 4 of Euro 2024. Not that he'd be drawn on predictions. If I say we're outsiders, people will say we'll lack confidence. If I say we'll win it, people will demand to know what that is based on. certainly happy to suggest that they can go a long way. There's a foul on Van der Ven by Bentaleb. Another who plays for Lille. He began at Spurs, actually, where Nicky van der Ven is now. Van Dijk. And now Algeria have left too much space on the right-hand side. Wiefer is well forward. That'll be part of the key. Whether they play with a 4 or a 3 at the back, the Dutch. The width is going to come from Dumfries, who is suspended for this one. And potentially from Timber. Wiefer, who Koeman now sees as more of a right-back than a midfielder where he began. He's also played there for Brighton this season. He is a useful pick in there to have as defensive midfield cover as well as on the right. Van der Ven seems to have nailed down his place on the left ahead of Nathan Ake. Gakpo will be the starter on the left wing and looks to zoom his way through. Seen out eventually by Abada on that right-hand side. Did come off Gakpo last though. There will be no corner. Just 1 goal in his last 18 games for club and country. The Liverpool man, who inches closer to 50 caps. He still thinks it should be a corner, but based on that replay, I think he might have had a different opinion, unless he's complaining about why Crescencio Somerville isn't forcing his way in. The fourth official is explaining to him that it did indeed take a deflection off Cody Gakpo. Abada can't quite keep that one in. He has a real good pedigree with the Swiss. Reached the round of 16 at Euro 2016 and the 2018 World Cup. Quarter-finals at Euro 2020. Vladimir Petkovic during his lengthy spell in charge. Van Dijk played the most minutes of anybody in the squad this season, around 5,000 in total. He'll be very close to a century of appearances if they do go all the way. Cap number 91 tonight, Van der Ven. Making it to 20. It's too far away from Wiefer. From De Jong, who was missing in March due to injury. There's that diagonal. Once again looking for the run of Mahrez. That will just run away. Still got the pace. It might not be as lightning as it was before, Riyad Mahrez, but he's a key member of this Algerian side. Van der Ven, who has the pace to certainly keep him up, if not more. Somerville. Nicely moved on for Reinders. Wiefer is providing that width on the other side. Marlon, Daniel Marlon off the upright. Brilliant hit on the right foot. And that is one reason why the fans would like to see him in the centre. Shifted it very quickly out of his feet. Straight forward from Van Hecke, who spotted Somerville had come inside. Reinders took it on. Used Wiefer as a decoy and then just guided it back into a really good area. Marlon, so quick to turn. And it's fractions away from being the opening goal. So much of his time for the Dutch has been spent playing one side or the other. There's a real groundswell of opinion that suggests that he should be up top. Memphis still not quite fit enough, only came back 10 days ago. He's played about 75 minutes over 2 games after a thigh injury for Corinthians, where he plays in Brazil. The record scorer surely will get some minutes tonight, just to boost his overall fitness levels. But he's not fit enough as yet to start. The other strikers in the squad, Brian Brobby, who's had an excellent season with Sunderland, former Ajax man and a current Ajax man, although he's out of contract now, Wout Weghorst. He will be the kind of impact sub Ronald Koeman would like to be able to bring on late in games. Marlon can certainly do a job there, even though Ronald Koeman himself said that he doesn't see him in this Dutch system as being able to play up top. Confusing from Zidane, who looked to chip it back to Zinedine Belaid. One or two in the starting lineup who play in Algeria, along with Abada. Gravenberch goes back to Wifa, and the space for Somerville. Oh, he just tried to guide it through to where we thought Reinders was. Hakpo is there. Marlon to one side, plenty forward here. Somerville is there, trying to be unselfish, and he is. And it's set up brilliantly for Tijani Reinders, but the flag is up. And it's not going to count. It was almost an assist on his debut, 10 minutes in. Reinders put it away. They will check it, of course. Somerville, the man they suggest was offside. Now, is he? It looks like he is, that right foot. In the yellow boot, standing out distinctively. And the assistant right in line, raising his flag as soon as the ball went in. Algeria's defence appeals, but it was very, very close. Confirmation that he was in fact offside. They've started brightly, both sides. No test for Verbruggen yet at the other end. That will come. Here's Guiri for Amora. Facing up Van Dijk. Just tasted relegation with Wolfsburg, who thought they'd got themselves out of trouble. Then lost the relegation playoff to fall out of the Bundesliga for the first time since they were promoted in 1997. So he may well be on his way. Guiri plays his football in France with Marseille. Ashraf Abada to do a little more than he expected to be able to keep that one in. They've tried to be expansive, Algeria, but some of their passing is not quite on the money. Van Hecke certainly was in the build-up to Marlon's effort. Here's Gakpo. Gravenberch. This could be the Dutch midfield. Gravenberch, De Jong and Reinders, when they begin their campaign. Arrowed with real pace to Gakpo. Maybe a little too much for Van Hecke. Rain has been falling steadily in this part of the country and continues to do so. Van de Ven, what looked like a foul throw, but don't often see them penalised. Van Dijk. De Jong dropping back into that quarterback role. He's equally good at surging forward with the ball or just picking the right pass. Van Hecke. And he's aimed at Gakpo. Already Abada's got his hands full. Gakpo shrugging off the attention of the right back. To help is Husamawa. Dutch were always going to have the lion's share of the ball, certainly here at home. At the moment, they're on around about 60% of it. Kakpo, take it inside Abada. And so far, it's down the right, where much of the action has come. It's diagonals from Van Hekke. There's De Jong. Supports from Van der Ven. Gravenberg. Trying to make space for the shot. He's found De Van der Ven instead. Into the bad cutback. It's just between those two lines. Those Dutch players. De Jong. Mahrez having to help out defensively. Gravenberg. Van der Ven. Oh, it's done brilliantly there. Did it all stay in? Algeria say no. Referee agrees now that it had crossed the line. It was a tight one. Called by the official over on the far side. To look past the goalpost to see for sure. Maybe this will give us a better look. It's probably just about right. The officials from Austria. This is Martin Höfler and Alexander Borucki. Quarter of an hour in. Dutch have been probing most dangerously. Really got a big hold of Van Dijk's shirt. Even better than Mandy all in France, and there goes Marlet, who was offside anyway. Ready alert though. Not much chance to attack. Abada. In 5 of the 13 games for his club since March's international break. Whether he will be the starting right back, and they do start or not, to wait and see. They have played a 3. He's alternated between a back 3 and a 4. Rami Ben-Sbaini, the Dortmund man, is on the bench here. He's often played as that left-sided centre-half, which means Ait Nouri is on one side. Rafik Boghali, who plays in Italy with Verona, on the other. That's throw. De Jong has it. Van Hekke. Comfortable under the press is Brighton side. Invite a lot of pressure before looking to play out, but they have lost the ball here. His Brighton teammate has lost it. De Jong coming back, Gravenberg coming back. He's then given it away, rather cheaply, to Rami Saruki. And now the flag goes up against Algeria for offside. We've played here for a few years for Feyenoord. He also played for Excelsior, another Rotterdam club. There is the offside, just. And the Dutch move it up quickly for Kakpo. Algeria have been very quick to get back, though, in their shape. Not much time to rest on the ball, that's for sure. Algeria are getting their fix of a passing team. Maybe similarities with Argentina, who can certainly hold on to the ball plenty. Neither have got particularly easy openers. Argentina for Algeria. Japan, the next highest ranked nation in their group, for Netherlands. We'll have a mini training camp in New York, which is where the next and final friendly against Uzbekistan will be. Gravenberg, good driving run this from the Liverpool midfielder, straight at Zidane. He's only got one international goal to his name, Ryan Gravenberch. That was 4 years ago against Georgia. Just didn't quite move enough. Here he goes again, looking for Somerville, he's got real pace. Now, can he put it into Marlon's path? He can! That's a fine save. Or is it? Did he scuff it? The referee says goal kick. Looked like the keeper might have got a touch, because that, given Marlon's prowess so far, looked like a certain goal. It's poor from Belaid with the clearance. Somerville again racing away. He's just scuffed it, Donyell Marlon. Really surprising. Doesn't even really bobble in front of him. No wonder he stayed down. That is a big moment. The kind of moment, if that comes to you at the World Cup, that has to go in. Here is Mahrez. He's hit the post, he's fluffed a big chance. This is his audition to play up top. Position he'd love to be in. Position where he excelled for Roma. And now, can they excel again? He's on the move again. Gakpo has it. Does he use him as a decoy here? Cody Gakpo! That is a fine save. Zidane springing away. And this time, the Liverpool winger thought he'd go himself. No trouble with the vision, clearly. But again, it's a really good break. Reinders finds him with that diagonal. Algeria on the back foot. Marlon wanted it, and actually, he could have slipped it in there. Given what had just happened, Gakpo thinks he's going to go himself. Mika Zidane with a fine save. Dutch corner, those three in particular, will be among the targets. Van Dijk arriving late, Wiefer in there, and it just dribbles towards Zidane. Defending set pieces is another thing Vladimir Petkovic said he'd worked on this week, given how much of a part of the repertoire they are for the Dutch, particularly from corners. Here goes Amoura though. Van Hekke doesn't get there. There's a little touch on it and he'll settle for a corner. And from one corner at one end to one corner at the other. A drone shot high above this famous old stadium down by the docks in Rotterdam. Shows everybody massing, waiting. Alex of Mandy coming forward to try and be a threat. Belaidis in there. Amoura, probably the shortest man on the pitch, but he's looking at the back of the box with Mahrez. Now they break. Bentaleb pops it in deep. Samawa caught Reinders and both jump for the ball. Here's another who didn't feature too much in the closing stages of the Premier League season. He's flicked his head back and actually hit Awa. Began in Manchester City's side, but started only 3 of the last 10. Down the left they go with Amin Gouiri. As well as Argentina in Kansas City, they'll face Jordan in Santa Clara. 6 days later, Algeria, and end the group against Austria back in Kansas City. Not an easy challenge, that one either. Wiefer for Somerville. He's had a bright start to his international career. Trying to find Reinders on the overlap. Saruki. Didn't have the best of times here. Certainly after Robin van Persie arrived, he didn't always see eye to eye. Certainly enjoyed his season with FC Twente, who he helped into the Europa League. goes from Belaid. Saruki and Bentaleb are the short options. The long option, well, nobody really there. Amora and Mahrez are the furthest forward. Somerville. His gain is Jeremy Frimpong's loss. Liverpool winger or wing back. One of the most high-profile absentees from this squad. There are a couple not in the World Cup squad who are actually on the bench, who are on the reserve list. Luciano Retauda, the former final player, and Ian Maatsen. He might well get some game time tonight. Samandi for Mahrez. Bentaleb forced into the error by Reinders. Here's Somerville. Reinders on one side. Here is Tijani Reinders. It's another good save. He gave him the eyes, then tried to slip it in the near post, but Lucas Zidane sticking out a left hand and turning it behind. Again, it's good pressure. Somerville just did that right, delayed the pass, again disguised the pass. Kakpo wanted it at the far post. He's got to be on his toes at the moment, Algeria's goalkeeper. Here comes another corner, away by Mandy. For Van Hecke. Ifa for Somerville. And Nakamura also was relegated. West Ham finishing third from bottom on the final day. Just got a bit of a whack there. Back of his Achilles. Algeria win it back, a rare occasion, and straight through the middle is Mahrez. Now, Van der Ven is straight back at him. Mahrez has taken it down. There's the brilliant ball, and Mora! Oh, it's a really good last-ditch challenge in the end from Van der Ven to put him off. Mahrez controlled that brilliantly and just slipped it through with the greatest of ease. And that is a good chance wasted for Algeria. Van Hecke, for once, dallying on the ball. It's Amora who wins it back. Mahrez here just seemed to be no way through, but he found one. And then that first touch led him down, Mohamed Amora. And in the end, Van der Ven didn't get a touch, but his presence and his legs were alone enough. Or maybe he did, it didn't look like it. It's been given as a corner, but from that replay, it didn't look like there was any touch. Bit of a lucky one for Algeria. Can they profit? Van Hecke's header, Van Dijk with a commanding header. Bentaleb really got his foot in that. Straight at the goalkeeper, but either side, and that was really fizzing in. First clearing header hit late. That was a really nice hit. Fortunately for Bart Verbruggen, he can see it all the way. First effort on target. It has come just shy of the half hour. Van der Ven furthest forward. Back comes Mahrez. Ricky Van der Ven is a difficult obstacle to get away from, and it's taken 3 in the end. Saruki, the final man to come to the challenge. Here is Van der Ven. Reinders, is that a foul? Ben Taleb goes down, but the referee says no. That is also not a corner. Well, after Japan for Ronald Koeman's men, comes Sweden 6 days later in Houston, and then Tunisia in Kansas City, which is where Algeria are based at the university. Their usual fan bus has been flown out. That's a poor bit of work on the distribution from Algeria, who've got away with it. De Jong. Dutch pressure applied in the right areas. And De Jong unable to fool Mahrez. It's the same, they will have the usual support. The fan marches through the city. The double-decker Oranje bus is already out there and waiting. De Jong. Wherever they go, they will provide the colour and the noise and the spectacle in a major tournament. They usually do, the Dutch fans. Wifa was aimed at Somerville. Ben Taleb. Ryan Aït-Nouri finds no way out. De Jong coming up against Saruki. Samandi directing play. There's a lot of surface water here, ball not rolling quite as it would normally. Saruki guides one. It goes to Abada. Mahrez. For Al Ahly now in Saudi Arabia. So too does Husamawa plays in Saudi Arabia with Al Ittihad. So a really key attacking player, former Lyon and Roma man, but he's not really got into the game as yet. So he used to try and close the Dutch down at the moment, who are enjoying the lion's share of the ball. Van Hekke for Wifa. Somerville. Came off Crescencio Somerville, I think, rather than Aït-Nouri. Or did it? Well, again, seemed at first glance a fairly obvious goal kick. Has been given to the Dutch as a corner. So again, they mass on the penalty spot. Van der Ven, Van Hekke and Van Dijk. Belaid and Samandi among those trying to stop them. Saruki is there too. Jakob Zemler needs to make sure everything is as it should be. Another break in a minute. Reinders looks to bend his delivery in. It's another high-hanging one on the header from Hekke. Gravenberg. Wifa is the closest to it, but Guiri was closer. Reinders left it behind. And there is a foul to prevent a potential breakaway by Aït-Nouri. Two Manchester City teammates coming together. Here is Rami Saruki. Zidane looking for Mahrez. De Jong seemed to have come off the retreating Abada. There's another one Van de Ven doesn't agree with. Incessant rain. Certainly going to make passing a little harder. It carries on this way. It's going to be heavier if anything. There's a roof across this stadium which protects some of the upper tiers, but not that first section of fans, who are all dressed in the raincoats now. It's a lovely ball down the left-hand side for Mohamed Amoura. He scampers away. Having gained ground, there was no support up there to keep the ball. They're enjoying a good bit of time on the ball, though. Stopped by Vifa. Around 10 minutes to go. They may have conceded more chances, but Dutch have not yet found a way through. Daniel Marlin scuffing his best chance wide, hitting the post with another. There's a driven ball brilliantly for Abada. He was trying to direct it back infield. Gravenberg, here is Marlin. Ball was on to go further up the pitch. Gravenberg again. Somerville. Algeria quick to get back in their shape. Whenever the Dutch just don't take too much time. To be honest, when they've gone quickly, they have caught Algeria out, but when they've tried to dwell on the ball a little too long, that's when they've got back in good numbers and in a good shape. Here's Mahrez, who's been part of that. The slip has led him off the hook there because it wasn't the best clearing ball. Somerville doesn't manage to get through. But then Algeria can't break quickly. Guiri wanted to. He'll have to hold it up and wait for Mahrez. Mahrez, Saruki making a little dart. That was the ball that was on for Rami Saruki. Had it been played in good time. Now the Dutch have got back. One well by Van de Ven. Gakpo battling, Gakpo losing out to Ashraf Abada. Unfairly. It was a jarring one, but not an intentional foul. Having looked second best in the early stages against Gakpo, he's come back into it a little bit, but that's a neat bit of control from Cody Gakpo. De Jong looks to find Rifa, who was in there. Didn't quite get it quickly enough. Frenkie de Jong again. champion again for the second season in a row with Barcelona. Pinch perfect for Van der Ven, who gets it into the near post. And Luka Zidane, son of the great, can claim. Timing of his ball was pretty good, and that's a decent ball from Van der Ven. Pressure from the back from Van Hecke allows FIFA to take the ball from the front. Gakpo. Forced wide to Heinders this time. Gakpo has gone more central. He's now up alongside Marlon. Van der Ven using his considerable physical prowess to good effect, but a little too much for Zerouki. If it does carry on like this, then it is going to make the second half a little trickier too. Plenty of spare shirts in the dressing room, but they don't stay dry for long. In a situation at the back end of the Dutch league season, the Eredivisie, particularly on the final day, where in the north of the country pitches were very, very tricky to say the least. Ajax were up in Heerenveen. By the time the final 15 minutes came around, it was like playing in a bog. Surface water everywhere. Oh, lovely from Gakpo. And Mandy dwelt on it too long, and Cody Gakpo couldn't quite find a way past Zidane. Again, another lesson for Algeria, not to dwell on it too long. Amoura has crossed to the right. Awa doesn't get it. They go back instead to Abado. Didn't get underneath it. Somerville. For de Jong. Nouri in pursuit. Van Hecke on the charge. Overlapping is Weaver. There is Marlon. And again, bodies in the way. It's not quite worked out for him in the first half, but the combinations have been good. And this time it is Weaver. Zerouki. I don't know if that was a thunderclap or a firecracker. Here's Bentaleb. Abada. Algeria enjoying a little bit of the ball. Aouar stayed on side. Mahrez for Zerouki. Now off goes Mahrez. Zerouki. Good possession this for Algeria, but they're not getting anywhere with it. They are looking confident on the ball in tricky conditions. Has hit the retreating Gravenberch. 2 minutes to go, and maybe a couple of minutes of stoppage time as well. Algeria have done their bit, but Asa Mandy, hugely experienced, very nearly got caught out. Gravenberch straight through. Reinders not quite. Samoa. Marlon prowling. Algeria get it away, but only as far as Van Dijk. Somerville out of a tight spot very nicely. Dutch want a free kick, they won't get it. De Jong sliding in, but this is Van Dijk. Inside the last 60 seconds of the normal time at least. Van Hekken arrowed up to Somerville. Gravenberg. For De Jong. 30 seconds to go. Van Dijk forward. De Jong, lovely little clip ball taken down by Marlon. Donyell Marlon trying to get it on his left foot. Now he's back on his right. In the end, didn't feel confident enough getting the shot away, but for a moment, there was space for him. Reinders, still plenty in there. Wearing the new Oranje kit. Van Dijk. And he's tried that at De Jong style. Little dink over the top for Weaver. Van Hekken, almost everybody now. Inside that final third. Well, they haven't used it quickly enough, and the referee has blown for half-time. So they may have dominated the ball, and they certainly had better chances, but they weren't able to put them away. Somerville's been lively on his debut. Donyell Marlon has missed one and hit the post, and the Dutch could be ahead, but equally, Riyad Mahrez, Mo Amora, and those going forward for Algeria have looked dangerous on the break. Half-time in Rotterdam. It is Netherlands 0, Algeria 0. Welcome back to De Kuip in Rotterdam, where the Dutch are preparing multiple changes. Justin Kluivert, Nathan Ake, Memphis Depay, and Robin Roofs, as well as Jodel Hato by the looks of it. So we may well have 4 or even 5 changes at half-time. Memphis, their all-time leading scorer, will be coming on very, very shortly. You have to cross the pitch to get to the dugouts from the way you come into the stadium. So, presumably, maybe we'll wait for the 4th official, because Ake has been playing left-back more recently, so it could be Ake for Van der Ven. Kluivert, well, who knows? Maybe for Reinders, he's played as a number 10. He used to be a winger, but more often than not now, for a club and country, he is a creative midfielder. Robin Roofs, it'll be his debut. We know who he's replacing. The Sunderland goalkeeper with a save percentage this season of 70%. The only other uncapped player in the World Cup squad, along with Somerville, who was debuted from the start here. Now we are going to get Robin Roofs debuting at half-time, formerly with NSA in the Eredivisie. The first brilliant season with Sunderland, newly promoted and already into the Europa League. He replaces Bart Verbruggen. That's the easy one of the multiple changes. You've been advised who Kluivert and Ake and Memphis and Hato are coming on for. Ake and Hato can both play left-back or left-sided centre-back, so it could be that we see Van Dijk or Van Hekke departing. Well, Kluivert and Reinders are staying on the pitch. I think Van Dijk has gone off for Ake. Ibrahim Massa is on and is getting information from Nabil Bentaleb. Jodel Hato, the Chelsea defender, formerly of Ajax, played here quite a few times. Fourth official is rifling through these. No indication as to who, what, or where, or which team. Blasted through those. We're going to get Belghali coming on as well. Rafik Belghali, who is usually a right wing back. There's a whole host for Algeria as well. They're not very organised down there, I have to say. We got 6 changes, including Anis Hadj Moussa, who they got to line up by the looks of it. So, Rafik Belghali is coming on. Whether or not we get told who's coming off, I don't know. We might just have to look around. So too, Mohamed Amin Tougai. Anis Hadj Moussa getting some warm applause, the final winger, who comes on here on his home ground. Shawen Hajam and Fares Shaibi of Frankfurt are the others coming on. Hajam of Young Boys in Switzerland. So Kakpo, Van der Ven and Somerville are the others going off for the Dutch, by the way. Just from looking around. Trying to update you on who's gone off for Algeria. Here we go, off again. Tougai is in at centre half. Looks like it might have been Naisa Mandi. Here is the new man on the left, Hajam. Ibrahim Matza, an attacking midfielder with Bayer Leverkusen, who's had an excellent, impressive season in the Bundesliga after moving from Hertha Berlin in the second tier. Hadj Moussa is really quick, really tricky, loves to cut in on his left foot from the right-hand side. He is going to be a handful for the Dutch players who will all know him very, very well. Wiefer remains at right back. Marlant remains up top, or at least on the right, I think now. Memphis has gone up top. And gradually, the graphics will catch up with what has happened down there on the pitch. Here is Belaid. little bit of juggling from Guiri. Starting in his Memphis. Mandy and Mahrez, as I mentioned, as well as Nouri and Dabada and Husamawa are the ones who have gone out. Saruki too, so it is 6. So all change. Here come Algeria, looking to clip one out to Amoura, who has stayed on the pitch. Here is Faris Chaibi, who's had a good season for Frankfurt. Mazza, oh, it almost squirts through. And did it take a flick on the way through? It did. And it'll be an Algeria corner 2 minutes in. Almost an immediate impact from Faris Chaibi. And from Ibrahim Mazza. Just a foot in enough to deny the Leverkusen man. Here comes the corner, away by Hakpo, who isn't one of those who went off, even though it's marked down here as the fact he did. I think it was Grafenberg, as the graphics described, who has gone off. Haj Musa tricking the man overlapping ahead of him, but he is going to be difficult to contain, that is for sure. Understandable that he wouldn't start, given the captain Mahrez is on that side, but Robin Roofs will have to be wary. Really? And they're really putting pressure on early doors here. Only 3 minutes in, and that slipped through to Amoura. He couldn't get his shot on target. Well, they're starting just as well as the Dutch did in the first half. Ake is down, I think, at the moment on the other side, as they flicked and switched the ball very, very quickly. And this does not look good. Fall back down already in terms of suspension. Denzel Dumfries, who looks to be on his way from Inter Milan to Real Madrid by all accounts. But unavailable here after he was sent off in their friendly draw with Ecuador in March. And now there is real concern over on the far side of the pitch, not least from Ronald Koeman, who wouldn't have wanted to go through these games with any injury issues. That is why he has left 2 players among the reserve list. Ian Matson and Lutau Hatauda. Referee wants Ake to go off. Let's see how it came about. It's a clash of heads with Guiri. And initially, he goes down really struggling. He looks to be okay, but he wouldn't want to take too many risks. Experienced campaigner like Nathan Ake, who hasn't played too much domestic football this season. Well, the first half against Ecuador, so 26 Premier League starts in 18 appearances. Tom Reinders, here's Memphis, taken on by Hakpo. Thumps into the defender and wins a corner. Just back from a thigh injury, a couple of months out, Memphis. He's got to push it a little bit, but also be careful. Right in front of the Algeria fans, who, you know, that should have been a foul. But still down to 10. Rifa, Hakpo from Hekka, Marlet, all in there. So to Hato now. Reinders on the edge of the box with De Jong. Memphis will take the corner. Ake wants to come back on, but can't until the ball is in play. Short. Memphis goes again. Chips it up with the left foot. Hakpo. And now Tijani Reinders just clears the bar. Fizzing as it headed over from the Manchester City midfielder. Just a little high into the netting that protects the Algerian fans behind the goal. It looks like Algeria have settled into their new personnel much quicker and more comfortably than the Dutch have. That was the first effort from them 6 minutes in. The jump almost loses out. There is a little touch. Marlon's onto it in a flash. Donya Marlon inside but outside the post. Got away from Tugay really well. But again, Donya Marlon can't hit the target. And it has opened up very nicely. Marlon reading the path of the ball. He scuffed that one again. Well, if this is his audition to play up top for the Dutch, he's getting into good positions, he's seizing the initiative, but he's not putting the ball away. Issues with doing that right throughout the qualifying campaign. Some of the criticisms levelled at the Dutch team under Ronald Koeman from the fact that often the handbrake is not quite off as much as they'd like. They struggle to turn their dominance in games into goals. 4 attempts for him so far, 1 off the post, the others wide. Brian Brobby hopeful of some game time after another decent campaign for him. First in the Premier League, along with Robin Roofs at Sunderland. Different kind of player. Alan trotting that one out of play. Plenty of the Dutch replacements warming up down there. Atrouda, Noah Lang amongst them. Here goes Van Hecke. Good awareness of where Vifa was, but also good work from Bentaleb to steal in. Dutch have stolen it away unfairly. Shaibi. Memphis for de Jong, who's now wearing the armband after Van Dijk's departure. Fielded well by Algeria, who do break now with Ajmusa for Amora. And here's Amora, who had to square it for Guiri. He only had eyes for goal, but if he just checked and looked across to his left, there was space for Amid Guiri. More vibrant and intense start to the second half, this from Algeria. Surprisingly, not beyond the quarter-finals of the African Cup of Nations. Breezed seemingly through the group, topping the group, winning all 3. Beat Democratic Republic of Congo in the last 16 after extra time, but then lost to Nigeria. Rolls it across. Nobody there to challenge him. Zidane. Long this time on the Granada goalkeeper, but too few players up there in the white. Algeria have turned it around, having had a minority share of the ball in the first half. They are now, well, they've dominated it since the restart, the 10 minutes or so. Gakpo. So Dutch who are playing on the counter at the moment. De Jong into Gakpo. Now, does he look up? It's deflected. I don't think it was intended as a cross, though. Vifa and others hoping for a ball. Instead, it's a corner. This is Hadjiboussa slipping in Amora. Good sliding intervention from Van Hecke. quickly taken this time. Kluivert, Justin Kluivert to the near post. Bentaleb away. Good foot in that from Reinders. Clattered forward to nobody in particular, just out of harm's way. Well, Amora hasn't had as many chances as Marlon, but Vladimir Petkovic's side could just as easily be ahead in this one, given how well they've started this second period. Reinders. It's curled beautifully for Wiefer. He just used enough of his toes to take it down. There's a thumping challenge from Amora. He was almost sent the wrong way, but the ball didn't quite go with Mats Wiefer. He's getting a laser pen in his eyes, unfortunately. Amora is fortunate that he got that trajectory just right. Here's Marlon. Van Hecke. Reinders a little deeper now with Kluivert on the pitch. Here's De Jong, Reinders and Kluivert. Here is Hardo, well forward. .28 in a couple of days' time, Justin Kluivert. I'd love to celebrate with an international goal. Zidane for Mazza. He did well to leapfrog the challenge. Reinders doesn't agree. Anis Hajbusa. Good to hope that his teammate Rafiq Belghali was in the right place. Wiefer. Chabi's covering a lot of ground. An hour gone here in Rotterdam. Goalless still between Netherlands and Algeria. Erwin Koeman trotting out to join his brother on the edge of the technical area. If we might see further changes from the Dutch before too long. Shackling Amora. Roofs for Van Hecke. Robin Roofs also confident with the ball at his feet. Here's De Jong. Dutch with 4 in that front line at the moment. Reinders supplementing that. Marlon doesn't quite get there because Hadjam makes the interception. Here's Kluivert. centre-back doing the defending. Behind us, for de Jong. Slip through, here's Justin Kluivert! Good save once again from Zidane. Pushed out as far as Gakpo. Teresa can't prevent another corner. And 6 for the Dutch. He stood firm though. And he's had plenty to do so far, Lucas Zidane. In his 7th international appearance. The smoke is swirling. In comes the corner, a very high one from Depay. Didn't quite get that right. Notes being taken. He's got a very experienced bench alongside him, Ronald Koeman. Wim Jonk, Ruud van Nistelrooy and his brother Owen. But it's Algeria who are making the change here. On comes Amin Gouiri. On comes Nadir Ben Bouali. Just a 3rd cap for him. Scored against Guatemala in March. What was his first call-up? Now his 2nd is to be part of their World Cup squad. Amora. And there's more flares being lit. The Dutch preparing their next change. It would be change number 6 for them. Already 7 for Algeria. Well, it's going to be 6 and 7. Looks like Martin de Roon. And maybe Getrouwde. Wiever. For Ake. Are they going to make it through? No, it's a good defensive header all the way back from Belkali. You think with the changes, something is going to change here. No, it's Hadj Moussa onside. He looked right on the edge when he picked up the ball. Looking to pop it on his left foot. The flag has stayed down. Hadj Moussa again looking for Amora. He just mishits it. And this is going to be where the Dutch make the next couple of changes, I think. Maybe not. They are lined up ready. Maybe more are coming out of the bench. Wiever all trundles back to Van Hekke. There's Ake. Kluivert. Just a lovely little change of weight and direction. Helps it out to Depay. That's moved on. Oh, lovely. Really good combination football with Kluivert stabbing it wide in the end. The man who instigated the move, along with Memphis and Cody Gakpo, couldn't quite put it away. Just lovely little drop of the shoulder and then acceleration away. Memphis and Gakpo setting it up. And it did look like there was a foot in from Tugay. Nothing doing. And we wait these further Dutch changes. The ball doesn't get further than Hato, who pops it back to Gakpo. There's no free kick there either. We're almost halfway through the half. 3/4 of the way through the game. And neither side has yet made the breakthrough. Hato has to chase. El Ghali with a really nice bit of work to just keep possession alive. Haj Musa couldn't do anything with it. On his day, when he's on form, he's absolutely unplayable, but there are still moments where he overcomplicates things. So we are going to have 4 more keep appearing for the Dutch. Okay, Reinders will be one of those to make way. Finds Riefer. Now if he goes early, he's found Marlen. He could have found Depay. Marlen keeps it alive. Kluivert can't squeeze it through. And this looks like the moment where they will make them. Quinten Timber, Maarten de Roon, Lutz Elgekraude and Toon Koopmeiners all preparing to come on. Well, that was presumably the wrong number, because 16 is Chris Till, 19 is Brobby. Neither of those is on the pitch, so the 4th official needs to just work his board out. It might have meant 18, which is Donjan Marlen. Quinten Timber, on his former home ground. He left Feyenoord in January to move to France and Marseille. Another former Feyenoord player, Lutz Elgekraude, who's helped Sunderland into Europe on loan from Leipzig. Toon Koopmeiners now with Juventus comes on. Denzel Dumfries watches on. He'll be available again when they play Uzbekistan. And here comes a change for Algeria. Mohamed Amoura departs without a goal. Adil Bourbina of Al Duhail in Qatar comes on. It's been a productive first season over there for him after his move from Algeria, particularly in the AFC Champions League. A rest for Riefer and for Reinders, who departed along with Marlen and de Jong. So at the moment, only Gakpo and Van Hecke survive from the starting 11. Here is Maarten de Roon, another of those surprise picks from Ronald Koeman, who's making his first appearance since March of 2024. He was last called up for the Dutch. Here's Gakpo. Kluivert. De Roon chosen because of his defensive ability, really. The likes of Luciano Valente of Feyenoord and Kees Smit, one of the RZ's young stars, who both looked pretty set for a call, didn't get it. Maarten de Roon, experienced campaigner, who nevertheless has played the 4th most minutes of any of the Dutch squad for Atalanta. Timber yet to find the net since he moved to France. Happy to be back in familiar surroundings, at least for the last 20 minutes or so. Okay, another third to wear the captain's armband tonight. Here is Elgekraude. Count himself unfortunate after a decent season that he has not made the final cut. Van Hecke, de Roon. is nice for Martin de Roo, who was injured in the Coppa Italia final just before the Euro, didn't make that. He kept storming forward, trying to make a difference at the top end of the pitch. Cut minus for Kluivert. Here's Memphis. And rifles one into Belaid. Quinton Timber pops it out of play. Everybody keen to make an impression to that man. He was taking charge of game number 59. And is open to discussions on staying in the job longer, depending on how the World Cup goes. Koopmeiners has played an interesting role in Koeman's system, at least against Norway he did in March. Had him as out on the right wing, but as a false winger, almost like a second number 10, so it allowed more space on the outside for the right back, which now is Hetrouda. Here come Algeria though on the break with Hadj Moussa. He can be one of the most dangerous counter-attacking players in Europe, and proved it in the Champions League. Bulbina, they worked it out to Hajam. Dancing one way and then the other, trying to commit Hetrouda to a challenge. Hajam again. Bulbina. Roofs. Gave himself no room at all to move there. Dutch taking a risk with that build-up play, trying to play out. Shaibi goes down, as if Memphis had gone right through him, and the referee, after a beat, says he did. Well, it started with a little bit of nervy goalkeeping here from Roofs, whose first touch let him down a bit. Now he is trying to build a wall. Who might fancy their chances on this one? Shaibi looks to be the man. Hadj Moussa on the left, or Fares Shaibi on the right. He's touched it off, Hadj Moussa, for the curler. It started out too wide. Three international goals to his name. We'll have a new coach, Adi Hutter, who's returning to Frankfurt. He's already returned, so he'll be taking things up when the players get back from the World Cup. Okay, we'll also have a new coach, along with Ait Nouri and Reinders. Heavily reported to be Enzo Maresca. Turon. Timber for Kakpo. Surprised he hasn't made way as yet for someone like Noah Lang. He goes again. Algeria don't like it because they have a man down in the area, and they still have a man down, but they are looking to break with Hadj Moussa. Now the referee will stop the game. It is Jawen Hajam who is down at the moment. He had an ankle injury in the AFCON, and therefore missed 4 months, including March. The way he's got his hand on his face here, you have to hope it's nothing serious. Doesn't look like it based on that. What are they going to look at? Time for everyone to get a drink. At least the rain has stopped, because the pitch was becoming very slow and difficult. There's stormy skies above Rotterdam, but at the moment the rain has held off. They are looking at his shin rather than his ankle. They can't wait, those of them who are making the trip to the States, to go and watch Algeria and what will be their 5th World Cup. First in 1982 when they famously beat West Germany. And also there in 86 in Mexico. In 2010 they managed a goalless draw with England, which was well celebrated. In 2014 they did finally get out of the group for the first time, beaten by Germany in the round of 16, although it took them extra time to do that. Both these squads had open training sessions on Sunday. 1,500 or so Dutch fans in Zeist. And a healthy number too for Algeria's training on Sunday before they made the trip to the Netherlands on Monday. Is the sub going to be subbed? Can Zhao Wen Hajam continue? Still only managed one effort on target, Algeria. That was Nabil Bentaleb's shot midway through the first half. He's one of only two of that starting 11, well, three actually, with Zidane the goalkeeper, that are still on. Belaid, Zidane and Bentaleb. Phone torches are out now, making a nice picture, particularly away to the right. Matt and Daron to Nathan Ake, cup minus. Boadina just loses out. Here's Claubert, who could have just checked and motored back the other way, actually. There was nobody behind him. Still on the Dutch bench, Wout Weghorst, who's still one of the two Eredivisie players in the squad. Thiel and Weghorst, the only two. Well, Brian Brobby and Ian Matson, the other outfield players, as well as Mark Flecker. There's a fairly obvious foul from Timber, which in a competitive game would have probably been punished with a yellow card. One of the Eredivisie players is about to come on. Well, Weghorst to make do with a fifth place finish with Ajax. They did then win through 2 games in the Conference League playoffs to at least take their place in the qualifying stages of that competition, but only the second round. They'll have to win through 3 two-legged ties, Ajax, if they do want to play European football next season. Back goes Spelgali. Hajmussa's Feyenoord took a second behind PSV, the champions, and they say surprisingly took third, with FC Twente taking Europa League qualifying in 4th. Here is Bourbina for Bentaleb. Forward from Bembouali. Well, they've shown plenty in both the first and the second halves, Algeria, to suggest they can cause a few problems at the World Cup. Okay, standing in the way, Van Hecker away. Better finishing by the Dutch in the first half would have had them a couple of goals to the good at half-time. Equally, you could argue that Mohamed Amoura had the best chance for Algeria and might have put that away. Ghali getting in a little bit of trouble there. 10 minutes to go. And here comes Weghorst. It will be Gakpo. So just Jan-Paul van Hecker left of the starting 11. No more central defenders on the bench. Presumably he's set to continue. Weghorst with a smattering of Feyenoord supporters in the building. Maybe getting a little bit of that. But he is the pinch hitter, if you like. The late sub who can change the game if you have to go long. A player who does not yet know where he might be playing. next season. It's cap number 52 for the number 9, who was out of contract at Ajax. We've just got a new coach in Michel from Girona. That'll be one of his decisions. Nice ball for Bubina. In goes to Rome. It was travelling a hit von Hecke from Ben Boali. They could still nick this one, Algeria. Crowding round the ball, pressing the Dutch high up the pitch still. And with Nadir Ben Boali looking to find himself a second goal. Third cap, all 3 sub appearances, 1 goal in that 7-0 demolition of Guatemala. Down goes Depay. Forward comes Van Hecke, still full of running. His uncle, Jan Poortvliet, was a famous member of the Dutch squad in the 1978 World Cup. Now another member of the family is going to add World Cup appearances to his list. Off goes Kluivert, Timber in immediate support. Out as far as Memphis, who drills it. And it very nearly sneaked in. Well, it's been entertaining, even if it's still goalless. Wasn't the best clearance. Memphis hit that firmly. It's been a good game for Luka Zidane. Last 4 seasons of his football career have been in Spain's second tier, 2 at Eibar, the last 2 at Granada. Okay, just enough pressure on Ben Boali. Bit surprised we haven't seen Hustil as yet. PSV attacking midfielder. Had an excellent season, into double figures for goals. Ronald Koeman has preferred instead to throw on. Kluivert, Winners. He could play as a false 9 actually, if he needs to. He's played up top for PSV this season in the absence of Ricardo Pepi, who fractured his wrist. Slipped into Depay, doesn't reach it. Algeria working hard, deserved their parity in the second half. This was Depay's hit, just fizzed past 2 or 3 players, so the goalkeeper did well. Mazza looking to dribble his way through. Space here for Hadj Moussa. Now Hato comes back across. Hadj Moussa on the left, brilliant! Oh, that is a stunning goal! They've been warned, and now he has struck for Algeria. Anis Hadj Moussa with his first international goal on his home ground, and it is an absolute beauty, sending the supporters away to the other end in raptures. They knew all about him, they knew he'd cut in off the right on his left foot, but he has fizzed that in, just like he does in the Eredivisie. Their magician has come off the bench and delivered. They left in too much space again. Hato's got 2 men to mark He still had plenty to do. Hato trying to show him outside, but that is brilliant. Whipped in with real pace. Just over the head of Van Hekke and out of the reach of Robin Roofs. 13 goals for Feyenoord. Now, 1 for Algeria. Well, this will be a big scalp if they can hold on and take the victory here. It may only be a friendly, but it means plenty. Certainly to the Algerian supporters and players. Brian Brobby has come on for Van Hekke in the aftermath of that goal. Not the send-off the Dutch were looking for. 3 minutes to rectify things. Petrauda back defending. It's a clattering challenge on him. That's a free kick from Ben Boali. Food for thought once again. As throughout qualifying, his side have created plenty, failed to finish it off. Questions remain about consistency and converting those dominant positions in games into tangible results. They looked good against Norway. They were down to 10 after only 12 minutes against Ecuador when Dumfries was sent off, so that was mostly a defensive rearguard. They looked good and secure defensively in that game, conceding only to a penalty. Then Taleb throws himself to the ground. The referee's assistant has given it. There are a lot of occasions, particularly in Lithuania, where they had a 2-0 lead and lost it. Actually won. They had trouble breaking down Poland, who had a 5-man defence. They've got work to do when it comes to sides sitting deep. Not that Algeria have done that. They've been really enterprising in the second half. It's only their second effort on target that it has gone in. The Dutch have managed double the amount of shots on goal, double the efforts on target, and yet they are the ones with the 0 next to their name. Algeria, 28 in the world. Netherlands in the top 8, ranked at 7. Ulbina, Haj Moussa. He could do it again. Now he's gone on the outside. Looking for Bulbina. Ben Boali is in there. Now they'll go back. 30 seconds of normal time to go to protect a big result. On the line from Hajam. Well, this would give them a huge boost. Their next opponents nowhere near the stature of Netherlands, Bolivia and Kansas City in a week's time. They'll go to the United States with a real spring in their step, regardless of what happens in stoppage time. There'll be 4 minutes of that. And if they can hold on, then so much the better. Down goes Ake under pressure from Ben Boali. They have handled the changes much, much better. The Dutch have been a little more disrupted by their substitutions than Algeria have by their own. Of course, that would play a part in the game management in a tournament situation. Here goes Koopmeiners. Bending it in on the left, looking for Weghorst. Timber charged down successfully. That's exactly why Weghorst is in there. To be able to put balls into the box that he can compete for, win knockdowns, put efforts on target. There he is again with a heavy touch. And the chase is on here between Petrauda and Bulbina. Bruce whacks it aimlessly. Well, at this rate, they're signing off with defeat. Unbeaten in 10 since that penalty loss to Spain in March of last year. Unbeaten in regular match situations for 18 games and almost 2 years. Noah Lang there on the bench alongside Marlon. Won't be getting game time here. Brobbey. With his shirt held, pretty obviously. Here they go again, Algeria. And so, stopping that one. Everyone's got their phones out. Adil Bulbina. And the space here for Mata. Oh, nearly turned it on to Shaibi. Bulbina going for that one as well. The Dutch just don't have anybody up to break with. Oh, how about this? Farid Shaibi. Oh, and he's gone again, the right back. Really good run from Rafiq Belghali. Back to Shaibi. It is still there. Timber guides it away. They're competing as if they're losing the game here, Algeria. And there's only a minute of stoppage time to go. Roos needs to knock it long. And the Dutch need to win the first ball. There goes Dozen. And he's beaten again by Mohamed Amin Tougai. Shaibi is down. Zeron's elbow, clocking Shaibi on the head. That'll eat up a little bit of time. They're preparing to celebrate. They've made noise all night. They've been some of the loudest fans inside the camp. They might just choose to keep a hold of this one. Zidane. He's played his part with a clean sheet. And there it is, full time. Algeria, thanks to Anis Hadj Moussa, a Feyenoord player in Feyenoord Stadium, have beaten Netherlands by 1-0. And don't they know it? Not the send-off Ronald Koeman was hoping for. His Dutch side created plenty. They had double the efforts of their opponents, but they couldn't find a way through. They'll bid farewell to home soil. One more friendly for each to go. That'll be when they make it to the US. But here, in Rotterdam, it is Algeria's night. A Feyenoord player has struck for them his first international goal. And a beauty, too, to win this game by 1-0. It is finished here in Rotterdam. Netherlands 0, Algeria 1.